Brothers Forever. Part 1. Introduction. 1943, Shtip, Macedonia. In 1943, in Shtip, there lived a small but compact Jewish community of 560 inhabitants. In those days, the Jews lived in a relatively small and narrow area in the center of the city, on the left and right bank of the river Ortinha. Part 2. Family Levi. Family Levi lived on the street Slivnica number 1. The father Juda, Judeico Levi, the mother Mary, Maria, and the children Pepo, Haim, Besale, Dora, David, Rufel, Yaakov, the twins Esther and Mary. The father Juda was a merchant, and his wife Maria was a housewife dedicated to her home and children. The family lived a very modest life according to the customs, culture, and the values of Jewish community in Shtip. Part 3. Pepo and Haim Levi. This is the story of the brothers Pepo and Haim and their close relationship, their lives. Pepo was the oldest in the Levi family, and he was in his final year at the medical faculty. His younger brother Haim finished high school. They were very close. They did everything together, sharing the obligations around the store, helping in the house, as well as going out and having parties. Pepo, although still in the university, started working as a pharmacist at the pharmacy Banvan Levi in Shtip. Haim helped in their father's shop. Like all young people, besides their obligations, they went out with their Jewish and Macedonian friends. At those days, they were members of the junior football club Hanoach, which often had matches with the club Bregalnica. They were also members of the Jewish organization Hashomer Hatzer and Tehelet Lovan, through which they took part in different activities connected with the Jewish community. Part 4. War. With the beginning of the Second World War and the Macedonian occupation by Bulgaria, the life of Pepo and Haim completely changed. They shared the hard destiny together with the Macedonian people, but their destiny was getting harder and harder every day because of the restrictive and discriminating laws against the Jews. That's why, in December 1941, they took part in National Liberation Movement through the Shtip branch with its leader Tosho Arsov. At the same time, their father Judeico died from a heart attack, and this way all the obligations with the family store became Pepo and Haim's duty. In one action of the Bulgarian police against the political activists in November 1942, Haim was arrested and tortured. In February 1943, together with a few party activists, he was taken to court, but because of lack of evidence, he was liberated. Few days later, he was caught again by the Bulgarian police and sent to the political concentration camp Yenikoi in Greece. Pepo was left alone to take care of the family. Part 5. Holocaust, Exile and Death. His love, dedication, and connection with the family, as well as the belief in his ideas, Pepo proved in the following events. The morning of the 10th of March, in Štip, in front of the Bulgarian police station, were brought 6 trucks. That upset the inhabitants of Štip because they didn't know what was their purpose. They supposed that there might be some political arrest and transportation of Jewish workers. They all thought that something horrible was going to happen and started taking the necessary precautions. But the action was so well prepared that so nobody could think of the unthinkable. In the afternoon, Pepo met his friend Vasil Zlatov, who warned him that something bad is about to happen, and he offered him shelter at his mother. Pepo refused and went to his family. That night, the whole Jewish neighborhood was imprisoned by the Bulgarian police. The morning of the March 11th, at 4 o'clock, all the Jews were taken to the railway station. They were brutally searched, and all their possessions, valuables, and money were taken away. Pepo, together with his mother, brothers, and sisters, were loaded on the cargo train, and by the evening they arrived in Skopje. They were put into the temporary concentration camp in the Skopje tobacco factory. Because he was a medical person, he was allowed to help the sick. On March 25, 1943, Pepo, together with his family, was transported to the camp of death Treblinka. On April 1st, he and his family were put to death in the gas chambers and cremated. His youngest sisters were only 8 years old. Part 6. Heritage. Heritage of the Levy family. After Pepo and his family's transport to the Skopje tobacco factory, Vasil Zlatov left for Skopje to see his friend. He had 2 assignments. One, to try to set him free from the factory, which was impossible. And 2, to ask him about the valuables they left at the houses because the Bulgarian police was preparing to rob their houses and to destroy the whole Jewish property. He put the letter into a box of cigarettes and threw it across the wire to Pepo. He went inside the factory, and few minutes later he came back with an answer. The Levy family, with 5 other families, drew the maps to the hidden gold in their houses. Their last will was to use it for buying weapons, food, and clothes for the National Liberation soldiers. Around 10 kilograms of gold were undug, which were used for buying weapons and ammunition for the fight against the fascistic occupator. In the summer of 1943, Bulgarian occupators burned the house of Pepo and all the other Jewish houses in Štip which had been previously robbed. Part 7. Life goes on. At the beginning of 1944, Haimt managed to run away from the Bulgarian camp and illegally took part in the anti-fascistic movement in the city of Plovdiv, from where, after the Bulgarian capitulation, he came back to Macedonia. He actively participated in the final operations for the liberation of Kočani, Štip, Veles, Skopje and Tetovo. He is a Partizan's Memory 1941 carrier, as well as other military medals. After the liberation, he was actively serving the Yugoslav National Army, lived in Niš, where he married Milica. After that, he lived in Mostar, Skopje and Sarajevo. He was retired as a colonel of the Yugoslav National Army. He had 4 sons and 7 grandchildren. The families of Pepo and Nino still live in Skopje with their families. In 1987, Chaim Levi, with his own funds, initiated the foundation of rewarding poems entitled 11th of March 1943 Shtip. Chaim Levi died on September 1st, 1996 in Sarajevo. His granddaughter Rebecca says, "My grandfather never wanted to speak about what he went through. He never wanted to go back in the past. He lived turned toward to the future, hoping for a better tomorrow for all of us." His successors are proof of the fact that a nation cannot be destroyed. His sons and grandchildren, who still live in Macedonia, are representatives of a small but strong Jewish community. In memory and remembrance of the Levi family and all Jewish families from Shtip, which were brutally murdered in a trial to wipe them out from the history. They survived in our memories and are an unbreakable link of the Macedonian history. The students from the primary school Naum Numovski Borcha, Skopje.